Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? I am doing well myself. If you didn't know me, I'm Grandmaster Boros, and this time we are going to do some gambits. So if you have any gambit ideas, let me know. Always excited to know. And I shall experiment in this tournament, as I always do. Let us just join this. This will be cool. Like Arya the Cool. Hello there. This will be a chill one. By the way, in the future, in like a week, I will be the resident Grandmaster. So if you have any specific needs and wishes about topics that you want to discuss in the future, do let me know in our good old socials because I'm always open to discuss topics such as IQP, isolated pawn, and such. IQP, central control, and ideas of that nature. Now, c6, e6, as you might not know, doesn't really work together. Why? Because you play c6 to get this bishop out. And when you play e6, you're actually walling in this bishop. So I'm going to go knight f3. I could go e5, but in that case, my knight is a little bit clumsy on c3. In fact, I had this little talk with Bartholomew. Actually, with bishop b4, I am forced to play e5. So John said that in the Mora, you do have to play knight c3, and it does stand well. Yeah, but in that case, you're sacrificing a pawn. But normally, your knight isn't really standing well on c3 because it blocks your c pawn, that being a big issue. Let's go knight g5. This is kind of this fishing hook idea, which will be followed by queen h5. Now, normally, in other systems, this is not that good. Knight g5 ain't that great. However, in the French structure, it just has so many targets on h7 and f7 that it does make sense, especially once the queen gets to h5, it'll get quite dangerous. Here, the point is, this threat is non-existent anymore because I take on h8, which is very, very exciting, and that's why you should remember this knight g5, queen h5 combo, which works so well together. And also note that I'm sort of trying to play on both sides. I kind of anticipate that black wants to gain space on this side of the board. However, first and foremost, I didn't want to go backwards with this knight when I can just put pressure on f7 this way. Long castles, but that does forfeit this pawn on f7. And I will have knight d6 checks, which is difficult to deal with. Again, notice the lack of that bishop and how bad this bishop is on b7. So it's a fork. Last but not least, winning material, which is good news. Knight f6, very tricky idea, but I can capture and go queen g6 or go queen g6 immediately. Now if I go here, there's queen d6 and the queen is hanging. So there's always some tricks you've got to look forward to. I think I can just capture and I have queen g6 over defending this knight. So in fact, this idea doesn't really work and I still have this fork happening. Not to mention that I might have bishop f4 later on. Let's take. If I go bishop a3, there's queen f7, so I didn't want that. I'm gonna go ab, open it up for my rook. Let's take. And then I'm gonna get in, or even this way. Sometimes it's better to just activate your pieces instead of winning more material, because more activity oftentimes matters much more. So I can go queen g3. All these moves are sort of hinting at the fact that this king on d8 ain't that great. Hey, Prodigal, you'll have a tournament. Well, good luck. Hope you'll have a fun time playing. Okay, let's take. So, oftentimes, when your opponent is down material, you want to exchange because you have more. Also, it's always good to exchange active pieces of your opponents. Queen g3, eyeing this square, which is very strong in conjunction with having a rook on the 7th rank. There, okay. Now let's just drop back. Sometimes simple moves are good enough. You don't have to complicate it that much. Again, there's only one guy who hadn't been developed yet, and that's this bishop on c1. I will try to get it out. And now at least I will have ideas of getting my rook out. Now I could go play rook e1 immediately. It wouldn't have been such a bad idea. However, why do so when you can play bishop a3 and activate the bishop there? Okay, let's double. And see, that's kind of the point. You can play rook e1, but if you move your bishop away, you give yourself options of plenty. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options, which makes it kind of a unique option. So, again, hindsight 2020, you want to keep all doors open because you never know which one you want to step into, which place you want to step into. King d7. Okay, let's go bishop c5. Point is, I will take, check, here, check, and checkmate. All right, let's take. I'm gonna go queen d6. Actually takes. I could divert the queen, takes, check, and then there's no one defending there. And if here, yeah, that looks good. Takes, check, check, here, check, check, and checkmate. Queen d6. Here it's mate. Yep, it's mate. And here, check, here, and it's mate on c7. So even in good positions, it makes sense to think about sacrificing. Also, thank you so much for the follow, Chess Armor. Morning people. Good morning, Vesmantias. All right, let's go again. e5. Let's do this gambit, bishop c4, d4. I'm gonna go knight f3. Giving up an extra pawn. However, if they take, that could actually hurt my opponent. Takes, let's take. There, e5. Now this knight will have to leave, and black is one move short from a castling. There, so takes, knight g5, queen g4 makes sense, but I also have queen d5 attacking. Could take, check, here takes, but queen d5, I have a double attack, and I'm winning a piece or a pawn, so that's the best deal there. Hello VegGM, how are you? How are you? Attack Master. So oftentimes you do have to check all your opportunities, because if your opponent is misplaying a position, you'll get chances to get a better position in multiple ways. However, then you have to decide which way to go. And I think this is one of the best way I can go there. Let's go queen d5, again eyeing that rook. Now queen e4 or queen d3. Queen e4 d5, which is a very nice counter trick, counter punch, forking me and such. So let's just go queen d6. This is actually a typical move. You're again trying to fall in that bishop on c8. And again, I just need to castle, and after that, the situation will get much better than it was before. Okay, let's castle. b5. Alright, I'm gonna go bishop d3. Now this bishop was doing some business on f7, but this will have some pressure on h7 as well. Apple, thank you for the follow. By the way, if you guys didn't know, I am going to be teaching at this club at the St. Louis Chess Club. So if you have any topics that would interest you, do let me know, because I'd be more than happy to explore that topic. Takes. I don't think I can take. I can take here and pressure on this square EF. And en passant, it is knight g5, and I'm swarming on him. So queen and knight is a deadly combo, but nothing is as deadly as a bishop, knight, queen, and pawn, of course. It can get very deadly. And also, if you have any gambit ideas you want me to explore, do let me know. I am more than happy to try them out. Okay. d4, let's go knight f6. Knight f3. Let's go Banco style. Good old Banco style. Okay, g6. You're gonna still gambit the pawn. We're still gonna gambit it. Okay. Hello, Lauren. How are you? Just doing gambits. Lauren is saying, Lauren Karpich is saying, I have to say thank you for your advice. Last stream, I've started using my tactics in game just by playing more gambit openings. Even bait Jonathan Schruntz. It was a crazy game. Congrats. Also, shout out to Jonathan, who has reached a milestone in his YouTube subscribers, as far as I know. Anyways, do check him out. Let's castle. And we get into this classical structure, which is a little bit tedious, but hey, what can you do? You're into the Orthoschnapp. Exactly. That's actually one of the expertise of Jonathan. If I recall correctly, he has some lectures on the Orthoschnapp gambit. d6. So I am just going to play against the center. Whole point of this gambit and this banquet sort of play is to activate this bishop on g7. Knight d2. Okay. All right. Let's go bishop e6. Sort of taking away the e6 square, and in that case I can go queen b6 with no counter chances from my opponent. Meaning there are some counter chances, but not a whole lot. Queen b6, hitting the b2 pawn. This is being the main idea of this concept. You take away this crucial square, now there's a target on b2. b3, but that sort of runs into some tactics. There, I can go knight d5. Point being that I not only threaten the c-pawn, but the bishop on f4. So b3, even if you play the structure, is not something you want to do. You'd rather defend it anyways with your queen, queen c2, queen c1. But you wouldn't want to get your pawn to b3 exactly because of this reason. Now I can break the center advantageously, takes, and my bishop will become a monster, plus I'm winning that extra pawn. Good morning, Chris. How are you? Okay. Here comes the question. Let's go rook e8 over defending the e-pawn. Hello, Hand and Brain. How are you? Over defending these guys. Now, as I have the bishops, I am normally trying to open up the position as much as I can. In fact, I'm considering d5 just to break it open. Not sure if I like it though, just yet. I'm gonna play bishop g4. So go here. I think I'm gonna go bishop, I don't know. I wanna go bishop g4, just pinning it. Not 100% sure if it's the best, but every exchange should be in my favor because I'm the one up a pawn. There, let's go here. I don't want to really take yet. I decided that maybe if I want to exchange the bishop, I should exchange it for this knight or bishop on d3. c5, and that's actually a mistake. My opponent should really be avoiding exchanging when in fact he or she is really encouraging it. Queen d3. Okay, could go e5, but I don't want that too much. Let's go knight b4. b4 there. Okay, knight b4, and then I will have d3, trying to open up the position. Queen d2, d3, rook b1. That ain't that much. d3, rook b1, knight c2, then takes. Okay, d3 here, rook here, defending. Still don't like that too much. So just gonna go rook c8, connect those guys. Everything's defended, and I do want to dislodge that best piece over there. Thank you for the follow, Rika Pankita. what is going on? We're doing a gambit. That's what's going on. And again, I will be doing GM in Res at the St. Louis Chess Club. So if you have any topics you would be interested in, okay, let's go d3, that you think is well worth discussing, do let me know in our good old server, Discord, YouTube. I am more than willing to investigate. Just let me know. There, and I wanted to play knight c2 anyways, because now it's defended. I hit that guy. I actually am willing to give up this d pawn, and again, at least my bishop will get more active than it was before. What do I think about the rapid tournament? Which one are you referring to, Lauren? Do you mean the rapid tournament at St. Louis? Or at least organized by the St. Louis Chess Club? Alright, I guess I can go rook d1, stuff like that. Okay, and the question is if there's something going on there. I don't quite see it, no knight c4. So oftentimes when you win stuff, you've got to realize if it's well defended or not. Takes, and I'm not impressed. I think I can just capture it. They can't capture it because I have one more defender there, and they can't really dislodge my queen, so it's all protected now. The St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. I saw that Wesley's been doing amazingly. That is obviously Wesley. So, but again, the technical issues. What do you guys think about those technical issues that keep popping up over and over again? Do you think it's okay? I'm obviously referring to Magnus Carlsen being disconnected. Now, again here, takes, there's nothing going on. And there's no knight c4 to dislodge my queen because I exchange. Who is the agent Gambiteer? It's very difficult to tell. Probably it's me. Lauren is saying, I guess, disconnection, it is just part of the game now. It's no different to other online sports. However, making it a loss is too strict. Position should be restarted with the same time on the clocks. Now, I actually played an online event before, like online esport, which wasn't chess. So when I was playing, I had a winning position. Somehow there was a disconnect, and they obviously called up the game. So they said, okay, we're going to restart the whole thing. We can't start from where we had it before. And we just did the whole thing from scratch. And to be honest with you, I agree what you're saying there, Lauren. They should have the game, but not restart from the position. Obviously, you can check the positions in that case, and I don't think that is right. Because you can analyze it, you might be AFK, and that could be a problem. So, if you ask me, what I would do is to get that position up by point count. So the arbiter can check the point count. Let's say black is up a whole rook. So you give 5 points for black, 5 extra minutes for black, and minus 5 minutes for white. And that's what I would say would help, you know, stabilize the situation. Just restart them. I mean, I would give that extra advantage for the player who had that extra rook knight or that positional advantage, because in that way the advantage that they had is preserved. I kind of think that that advantage is needed. In fact, I'm curious what you guys think. What to do? Restart game. Or forfeit, which is also a legit way of looking at things. Alright, queen takes d3. I can just take and go knight b5. It's nothing special, I'm just up a pawn. And if rook a5, I always have a6, defending both the a pawn and the rook. Okay, just go e6. Now I'm gonna go rook c3, tag both of them. Rook c3 is actually a nice move. I put pressure on the knight. Can't move any of them. Again, just a6. Make sure everything's connected. Knight c5. Okay, let's just go knight d4. Can just take, knight c6. And I'm just clearly up a pawn. Yeah, Dr. Love, yes, he actually DC'd, Carlsen DC'd against Nepo. So that's why we're kind of discussing the topic of whether it should be a forfeit or should it be a restart of the game or restart the game with the odds of the position. Right. There, and I'm going to do this Gambito. In fact, I played this against a Jonathan Schranz himself. What I'm trying to do here is playing a sort of reversed Budapest, pressing on e4. And because this bishop is so passive, white will get counterplay. How do I determine it? I think it's fairly straightforward. Let's take, and I can go d4. The way I would determine the advantage is, as an arbiter, you can take a look at how the position was and who had a better position, extra plus 0.5, extra 0.1 if it was like 1.00, extra pawn advantage. So you would add that as minutes on the clock. There, okay. Thinking about queen h4. Really want to go there. Or queen f4 here. Because I want to eye these guys on the king side. King loves queen is getting a bit harsh there. If you're playing high-stake games with money involved, the only option is forfeit. Why? I mean, if you got the position, we have the technology to state that that position was better for someone. We can say for a fact that white is better or worse. You can use that thing and not knowledge, and we can add that to the arsenal, really. Okay, so now I have to decide if I want to play d4 or bishop d3. Bishop d3 is a little bit more adventurous, but hey, a little bit of adventure doesn't hurt. And again, this bishop is still quite passive. Also, if I play d4, oftentimes there's some counterplay with c5. In this specific case, it's not going to work. That means that if you get a fine position you're unfamiliar with, you can disconnect on purpose to get a new game. Well, yeah, but the only advantage you will get is extra 5 minutes, and that's all. There. Okay, I think I'm gonna capture, because why not have the bishop pair? Okay. And I'm just gonna start eyeing the king. If you're about to checkmate in 6 moves and the other guy disconnects, so whenever you're checkmating in 6 moves, then again, actually that's a good question. What would be the level of your advantage? Maybe it could be like a hefty advantage on the clock, like 10 minutes to 1. I think that that is kind of reasonable, because believe it or not, time advantages do count for quite a bit. Now again, the other thing is that you can still check if the disconnect was intentional or not. You can always check it, and they do check it. So if it was intentional, obviously you're going to forfeit the guy who did so. A5, trying to go A4. I'm wondering if I want to go H4, H5, but I don't think so. That seems to be a bit too much. I don't know if I care. I'm gonna stop it anyways. Well, you guys said forfeit. And some of you said restart with a gaming odds. Hey Joe, how are you? There are rook at b8. Okay, now king go queen g5, go nasty on the a pawn. But I think I'm just gonna castle, why not? And these bishops are quite strong. Fischer would be happy. Our rooks are connected, my king is safe. So I'd say that my position is slightly better. And in fact, like, you can't quantify the position. But let's say I disconnect here, I could get, let's say, a roughly a minute advantage on the clock. And then my hard work of getting here would be rewarded. Because am I winning? I wouldn't say so. I don't think I'm winning. But is my advantage somewhat substantial? Yes, it is. I have the bishops, I'm castled, my opponent has weaknesses on the queen side. So I definitely would say that yes, it's unreasonable to just restart from 0. It's not an equal position that I've lost, quote unquote, in a situation of disconnect. But in this case, let's say that extra minute or extra 2 minutes, depending of which rule we would want to follow, would count for a bunch. There. I can just go rook e1. But I think I want to start running and opening it up for my rooks. Because by in itself, these bishops won't win the game, but if it gets a little bit of a help, it might help the attack. Wasn't queenside castling better here? Bosch is asking. Well, the thing is, when you go opposite side castling, you often can get attacked. So as I went kingside, I said, my position is so much better, I don't need to actually take that extra risk. Setlon is saying the non-disconnecting part should choose a full restart or restart at actual position. Give me an example there, Setlandon. Rook b4. Trying to get on the other side. Okay, I still don't get the point of this move. I'm just gonna bring my own guy in and setting up some pressure. When you don't know what you're about to do, it makes sense just to bring in some new pieces. You don't always have to play the best move, but the most practical one. Especially in gambits. That's a thing. You don't always get the best. Sometimes you've got to do the second best, which you understand. Hey Joyful Scooter, how are you? Glad I'm back. Yeah, I'm back a bit. However, I will be working as a GM in Res. Alright, C4. C4. I think I can take that pawn. Now BC, there's rook takes B2, so not happy about that one. I think I can just take this. I'm just gonna take that. Takes, I take. I don't see a reason why I should be troubled. And takes, as far as I know, I have bishop c3, bishop d3, then maybe knight h5. Wondering if this queen is trapped. Goes back. F5, takes. Or rook e2. Queen moves away. Okay, just wait. Bishop d3, knight h5, queen g4. Let's go here. I'm actually not winning the exchange. Maybe this is somewhat of a risky decision, but I kind of felt this queen is a little bit awkward on d2. So I'm trying to use that fact that this queen is not ideally placed. Bishop c5, I'll hide my king. And this queen is just awkward. Bishop d4. There, takes, that doesn't do nothing, but I have rook e2, bishop c1 here, f5, e2, takes. Take, rook d1. Queen c3, I take and I win the queen. I mean, I kind of realized I should grab the money and run because I'm low on time and practically it's just a better decision just to get some advantage and roll with it because I don't have that much time to convert. And what I'm kind of realizing that this queen is still kind of awkward. If I can lure the queen to c3, I always have bishop h7 and I win it. Also, this rook is a little bit unstable on d4. So queen c3 I take, queen b4, that's again a question which I have to answer, obviously. If I can answer that, then the situation will be quite good. And you might ask, like, okay, this position, disconnect. I think you just go by what the computer says, of what the computer would evaluate the position as what advantage for black, advantage for white, even. If it's even, by the way, if it's even, I think it is just fair to start from 0. Like everybody has the same amount of time and you just restart the game. So I think it's actually not a bad idea, not a bad concept. Because chess, at its heart and its base, it's an objective game. Or at least that's how I see chess right now. Note also that these guys are defended. So there are no tactical tricks there. Yep, I thought so, that this is the best try, but it's an exchange. So as you can see, I'm trying to exchange up as many pieces as I possibly can. Takes, and I've got that extra exchange with an open file, and that is more or less what I want. I'm gonna go rook e1, taking away all these squares where my opponent can jump to, and also put pressure on that pawn. Those are the big targets here. There. Okay, let's go rook d4. I want to go rook c4. I'm gonna lurk around, and also should start thinking about bringing my king around there. Takes. Should take, and now I have a runner. Let's say takes, a5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks far away, and this pawn is just too fast. You always double check. Even when you're sure, you should double check. And black is obviously not close enough to promote time. There, a6, 7. And it's a fine little win. Will I review your game sometime in the future? Flash, oh, by the way, you just renewed. Welcome back. I don't know why it didn't show that you renewed your subscription. In any case, I will. It'll be a little bit hectic these days. All right, let's go this way. Because I will be at the chess club. But if I get a chance, I definitely will. Probably not today, but the next upcoming streams, I will take a look at it. Flash, It's already in the Discord, right? The game. All right, let's go g6. So I'm playing the Portuguese. Good old classic opening. You give up a pawn. I mean, if your opponent takes it, your opponent didn't care for it. Okay, then you capture it back. So it's basically d5, e takes, and knight takes. Now this is not good. You don't want to release the tension, especially if you're white, because that's where your advantage lies. Oh, it's posted. Cool, Flash, By the way, people, if you are interested in some of these topics, openings that you want to learn, try out. Wait, can I go c5? c5. Let's go c5. I kind of feel that this king is still in the middle. It should make sense to try to bother white in this case. No, the Portuguese variation is e4, d5. And also that pawn is a little bit loose. Notice that this bishop has moved away. Now this is a target. I think there might be multiple Portuguese variations. That e4, e5, bishop b5 could be the Portuguese, but as far as I know, the e4, d5, e takes, knight f6 is the Portuguese as well. There, pawn is a pawn is a pawn. I'm gonna take that pawn. For sures. For sures, I'm gonna take that pawn. Okay, my king is in the middle. I'm not enjoying that. I can't quite take because there's queen g4 and that's not good. I'm gonna castle myself. because I'm getting my out of danger. Also, I need to get that garage sale straightened up. Let's take. Will I be commentating on the St. Louis Blitz portion? I don't think I will. It's usually Yasser, Jan, and Maurice Ashley. Now this looks like a tricky idea, but if you have just one move away from avoiding knight c7 and there's no checks, any of the knight moves will do, and this is kind of a pseudo threat. You can go here, but it just feels right to put it there because it defends all of my pawns and leaves the b2 pawn undefended. In fact, that drops the pawn on b2, which I'm gonna capture. There. Okay, can I go rook d8? Or just drop back? Actually, I can just drop back. I've got an extra pawn. Hey, that's good with me. Bishop e4. If you have an extra pawn, exchange. Just gonna start exchanging. It'll be doubled, but it's getting closer to the center, so not every doubled pawn is bad news. The Caro-Kann is a very decent opening, Joyful Scooter. So if wow, what no, something's up. I thought that okay. So everything's defended. Nothing really threatened. My opponent wants knight d5. I can go bishop d4. I don't like that. Let's just go rook d8. Getting on the file, moving out of danger. So when you're up a pawn, one of the first things that you have to do is make sure that your pieces are defended. e6. My pawns are defended, and this is actually a typical Tetris pawn structure. And these Tetris pawn structures are actually not that bad. They control important squares. Yes, the g pawn is missing, and your king is a little bit vulnerable. However, you do take away some important squares in the center on e4 and d5. There, I'm gonna go b6, just chasing this bishop away. And as white is getting pushed away, I will have a target on c4. First off, I want to go knight d4, which is quite pleasant. Setting up some threats. Now it's obviously not a threat yet, but you know, in the future, it'll be an idea. I can go knight e2, knight c3. Just setting up this pseudo fork, and hey, again, the fact that I have control over that square does start to matter. Something to penalize the disconnect. King loves queen, but also invest in a better internet setup. Yeah, I agree, but I definitely would give minutes to the ones f4. Let's go f4 for the ones who had the advantage, because I think it's just fair if we don't want to necessarily penalize the one who disconnected. There, this is so fishy. And I'm a bit upset it's not checkmate just yet. If I go check knight e1, it doesn't win. But okay, let's just pin it to win it. We're putting a tractor on the second. Now if you move the knight, we have issues like that. Knight e1, but in that case I'm just going to start collecting extra pawns. And with an a passer, this should be a straightforward win. All of these openings have their own story. I don't know all of them, to be honest with you. Okay, let's go f3. I'm just gonna give it up. Give up the pawn, bring the king. And there'll be plenty of weaknesses there for my king to attack, even though I can still rotate and try to undermine the c pawn. There, let's go king f6, going this direction. Actually, I can even go that way. And that's kind of the fun part of chess. There's a level of flexibility in there. Okay, let's just get the knight to better square. I was getting a little worried for the life of my knight. At a4, and I can get my knight to c5. Every exchange is good for me. I've got an extra pass pawn, and that would make my day much easier. There, I don't really matter because I'm just gonna start pushing the a pawn. Also, I should be able to put pressure on the other side as well. a5, a4. I'm gonna start with the a pawn. So this knight will be preoccupied defending against that. a4, going this way. I'm just gonna run this direction there, here, there. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. And this is obviously winning. There's not much that white can do. Just let the clock continuously run. I'm not a fan of that idea, honestly. I just don't think that's that good. And it's also not stylish. Like, it worked in the past, but hey, I think it's much better to be exact and just to add time to the clock. Letting the clock run down, that can get messy, and it just doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good, and looks do matter. I have to admit that looks do matter. All right. I don't know. Just a play. Slow c5. Just keeping it gambit style. Okay. Can just take and go queen b6. White obviously had to play e3 again. Bishop moves out, the b2 pawn, and the d4 pawn becomes a little bit loose. Okay, can I go knight d5? Wait, e5 takes. All right, aren't we gambiting or something? And the whole point is, white is behind in development, like really badly. I've won 2 develop, and white's been wasting moves with c3, b3, and such. Queen b4, queen d2, bishop b4, and d2, knight e4, knight f3. I have a tough time believing this. Knight e4, targeting the f pawn. So I've got 1, 2 tempies ahead, and I'm going to win a. Whoa, that's mate. That's mate. By the way, if there's e3, I have bishop b4 check, and the king is in trouble. So if your opponent is wasting too much time, you can actually go for these e5 sacrifices. So be wary that if you're that much behind, even this makes sense. Now, 99.999% of the time it doesn't work, but in this case it did, because white just neglected the development of the king side. That's how you get checkmated. Take care, Vesmantias. Thank you for coming by. So yeah, development is key, and that's why we love Gambit so much, by the way. And that's why I play some Gambits time to time, because development is key. And if your opponent just lags a few ideas and a few moves, it can become a drag. Again, let's do this. I'm giving up the pawn. Seems that my opponent didn't want to defend with c4. That's not a great idea. You don't want to exchange it like that. There, bishop g4. c4, and I think this runs into this move of queen e4 check. And with this move, which is a little dodgy, it actually wins time here. Bishop e3. There. Can I go there? Actually, I can go e5. I go e5. Yep, I can, because I have bishop f3. Now, whenever you have the queen in the center in the beginning of the game, you've got to be extra careful. There. And again, you run into bishop b4 check. Problem is, you're pinned. This knight is pinned. This bishop is pinned. So many pins. Pins everywhere. There. And talking about too many pins, there's knight d4. You can't do that because I'll call the arbiter. Same thing. And apart from that, you've just seen e5 happen yet again. J Bondo, thank you for the follow. Let's take. Again, it's just too many pins. You can't do much about it either. There, can I go queen c2 or take? Let's go queen c2. This king is in big pickle. There, now check doesn't do a whole lot, but again, castling is never wrong. Kind of preparing rook he8 checkmate. Which is quite deadly. And again, you can see, if your opponent is neglecting and isn't castling, you can and should go for these e5 tactics in those lines. So especially in the line of this Portuguese variation or that London, sometimes you can get away with e5. And obviously the Budapest is the Budapest. Unfortunately, Dan Cruz, I don't think they have like chess databases on Mac just yet. I don't think so. Hey, Ice, how are you? All right, let's Berserkovich. C5. Okay, I'm going to do the delayed wing gambit. There, okay, bishop c4. And I don't like this method because not only is that rook being iffy, the king has and needs more shelter. Don't I have e5? I'm gonna try. The thing is, this rook is just very suspiciously placed. Okay. Maybe I'm being a little bit too adventurous here. But hey, it's a gambit. It is a gambit. So even though I gave up a pawn, it's a double pawn, and also that rook is a little iffy. I don't think I can go there because queen d4. I'm just gonna stick with queen b3 and eyeing the f pawn. There, okay. And start developing quietly. Bishop e7. Okay. Let's develop. Now this is a bit of a risky business, b5, but I'm okay with it. Eventually I should undermine the e pawn, by the way, because that's the only way I can use the fact that I have more space. Let's go knight g3, just eyeing this pawn, and I'm going to corral it with rook e1 and knight c3. Go knight c3, knight c3, knight e5, so let's just go rook e1 first. I have to eye that my opponent won't get that chance. If I go knight c3, knight e5, knight e4, takes. Does that do anything good? Let's go for it. Let's go for it. And I'm just really trying to win this guy on e4. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it if I can. And we're actually getting into a very normal position with some pressure on the king. However, to be honest, it shouldn't be that much. Okay, here. It's a little annoying. I don't know if I can go here. Or takes. And I have a double attack, but I fear that I have weaknesses. If I go here, g3, or I could just go queen e3, takes. Nah, I want to keep the queens on the board. So I'm just going to stabilize my knight, also taking away that square. Takes. Okay. Takes. What's going on over here? What is going on? Takes. Takes. I'm just wondering what's going on here. Bishop c3. I'm asking where this queen is going. And again, it's not really mentioned in any books. However, the bishop pair usually counts for something. Okay, can I take? There, takes, check, takes, doesn't do a whole bunch. I go there, no, can't go there. That's sort of annoying. Yeah, this is actually troubling. Takes. Okay, let's take. Point is, after f takes, I have rook takes e6, and that king is in the firing range. There, if I take on f6, doesn't do a whole lot. Let's take this. Let's take that. Okay, 4. And I'm just going to go for the double in. There, let's double. Let us double. Takes. There, rook e2. e1. I don't mind the exchange. There. e7, I'm going for the a pawn there, but in this case, this rook will be super passive. Rook b7, and now this rook is just dead. This is sort of the end game you don't ever want to get. King e3. You can go back if you want to. I'm just gonna walk my king up. There. King c4. Probably rook e7 was best. That's definitely the best thing that black could have tried to do. Okay, and I just want to walk in the king, take the pawn, and it's just too much. And those pawns are just too strong. No, rook e7. I should have taken on a7 first. But now this is just dead. Dead because... Okay, I'm just taking this pawn. Taking this pawn, and the b pawn just runs. Okay, c4, b6, b7. And it is again about the quality of the pawn, not the quantity. They're check here, and the b pawn is promoting. So in fact, my opponent played quite well earlier on, but now it's just sort of fallen to pieces. Again, I do need to be a bit quicker because time is of essence. Check. Okay, that's a mate. That is a mate. I just have to react to any of these moves. Rook h7 is checkmate. Maybe nominate second who can post moves in their stead. That would never really work, Rostakelis, if we're trying to talk about, like, you know, hard stuck grandmasters who really try to win these tournaments. Alright, just gonna play solido. Knight f6. Let's do the banco. Concerning disconnects, they should just establish backup communication channels. I mean, they definitely have ways of solving problems. I'm pretty sure they do. But I do think it's a little bit unfair that you just disconnect and forfeit. I think that's just a bit too much. Castles. And the thing is, talking back a little bit more about these positions. Okay, let's go e6, undermine this center. Even though white has the center, this knight is very badly placed in these type of positions, which I will try to use to full effect. If you could and had to drop your master of chess and immediately convert into mastery of something else, what would you choose? That's a good question. Knight e5, and I'm kind of trapping that bishop. Let's take that. Okay. Could take. Queen takes. Worried about that rook. Takes here. Sort of helping my opponent. First off, I'm just gonna go rook e8, eyeing the e pawn. What would my mastery be? Let's take. In fact, I have bishop f5, and I don't really mind ruining the structure. It doesn't really matter. White is just too underdeveloped to use it. My mastery, it possibly should be math, but that's not really me, because I'm not such a great math expert. So I don't even know why I said math, but that's possibly the way you could translate 5. I don't really know how else can you translate it. The knowledge of chess. There must be many other ways. In fact, they say languages. I heard Peter Svidler say that languages are one of those things. That some people are really good at languages and that translates. Like chess players are usually pretty good with language or math. Now, if you're asking me which one I am, I'm probably more about maybe logic. True, Lenny. Good point. Now this is quite annoying for my opponent, and again, that's why you don't want to waste so much time going back and forth with your pieces. Because I get ahead in development in that case. Oh, you mean trade a master for anything I want? Um, I don't know. I don't really feel. I don't have like a specific one that I would rather do. Let's say takes, queen takes, and there's a problem there. But I think I have just queen g5, and this bishop is attacking that d3 queen. This is basically just winning because I take there, take on b2, and again the passivity of the queen side decides the game. No, I'm not really enamored with any of those martial arts. Not really excited about them. Maybe kickboxing. Maybe kickboxing. If you really push me, I'd say kickboxing. Why? Because there's an art to it. It's yes, it's a fighting sport, but all in all, kickboxing has the artistic element to it. And in some ways, it's martial arts actually. But to be more specific, it's K1. Rook F3. Now here comes the question. I guess I'm gonna, well, yeah, let's check here first. King F2, that's sort of what I expected. And I don't really want, well, takes. Nah, I want to exchange off this guy and just make sure that white has zero counterplay. The ice is really trying to convert me to a martial artist by suggesting Josh Whiteskin. Thank you, but no. My answer is no way. Knight d7, I'm gonna go knight e5. Knight e5 takes. And as I'm up a piece, a whole rook, I am in no hurry to avoid any sorts of exchanges. Alright, I'll take that. And just go bishop c3. And then just rush down my a pawn. I'm just gonna start rushing the a pawn down. Well, if you don't let me, then I'll come on in and take the a pawn myself. Okay, let's go a6. It's my pawn, not yours. And I'm gonna join. Rook e1. Gonna go there, just capture it and just rush it down. Rush it down the board. And again, notice this knight is pretty, but it really isn't doing a whole bunch. There. Okay, just gonna defend it. Take, push. There it takes. And win. Now, there's a good point that King Loves Queen says that chess is an art. Yes, it's true. But just like in judo, you would have a beautiful drop. Like you would be very, very, very close to actually, just clinch with like that drop, but you just get 1 point for it. And I think that's completely fine in chess too. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a point, like extra time, just some extra time for your invested time. Like, if in judo they're okay with just getting 1 point for some beautiful maneuvers, I think it is kind of the same thing. You can, admire the artistry of Carlsen, and he can get 2 extra minutes on the clock for that investment. So if judo can embrace it, why wouldn't chess be able to embrace it as well? Have I practiced judo? No, but I've been a big fan of judo. I mean, it's actually closely related to K1. All right, we're gonna again do the Wing's Gambit, sort of the improved version. B6, man, this is being popular. Okay, bishop c4. Let's eye again that pawn. I'm not 100% sure anymore with e5, so I'm gonna avoid that if possible. I never practiced judo, no. Bishop d7, b5, and I'm again trying to kill the scope. I mean, the bishop is a little bit passive now, and also that knight, that's just awkward. There, a6. I can't go a4 because of some troubles, but I'm willing to take on a6. If my opponent has to put the knight on the rim, that I'm happy to see. Alright, I'm gonna go f4 because I want to break it open. The king is still plenty of moves away from castling. So I think it is time to try and punish Black for being too passive. Let's go e5, fe. And again, here there will be a question whether I should develop or get my queen out. Both actually make sense. Ooh, wants this dirty little trick. Takes or takes. I am a little passive as well, so I think I should chill just a bit. Gonna go queen g4. Whole point being, I don't care about the pawn structure as long as I have pressure on my opponent's king, and if I can go ahead castle, mate will be ready. Nope. Harry, I am not in Europe right now. Bishop d3. Just going to reorganize my pieces. Bishop c6. I'm gonna develop quietly. Maybe it would have been better to go bishop e2, but hey, this does not look that bad. I could go back still. Bishop e4 takes. Nah, I'm gonna just be conservative, and I can always block any ideas with knight d4. And the thing is, this king is still stuck in the middle. Okay, f6, not ideal, because f6 is never ideal. Hope that explained it all. f6 was actually ambitious, but any other move, let's say g6, knight c5, would have been much better. It's still a fighting game. But as you can see, f6, play a different move, double attack, you resign. That's how difficult chess can become. Never play f6. f6 is too dangeroso. Or if you do, triple check. Definitely triple check. Alright, let's go e4. c5. Let's do this journey, b4. I'm giving up the pawn, but for that I will get a decent structure. d5. Interesting. Okay, e5. So what white is saying is, take my pawn, I will get an ideal French structure where you don't really have counterplay against my center. b6, again sort of ignoring it. Okay, can go f4, knight f3. I'm just building a bigger center in that case. Knight f3. There. Okay. Huh. I'm gonna give this typical check. This is actually very typical. Bishop a6 is often a move you don't want to face, so I'm just gonna misplace this bishop. Knight f5, just castle. Takes, I'll get d4 and I'll get a beautiful center. Also, sometimes I can consider g4 f5 ideas. It is somewhat risky, but it's a gambit. It wouldn't be real if it's not risky. Let's go d4. Takes, knight takes a3. It is basically like the Vink gambit, yes. Yes, sir. So this bishop ain't doing a whole bunch, so I'm gonna go bishop d3. Just activate it. And yes, I'm down a pawn, but I have a very firm center and there's nothing counterattacking it. So it's not as dubious as people make it out to be. In fact, it does have this point of having a stable structure. Okay, I'm gonna go c3 now, just stopping any jumps, bolstering, and setting up connect 3, as the mighty Rosen would say. Knight a5. Okay, it's time to go aggro. I mean, eventually I do have to play aggressive chess, otherwise I'm just gonna be losing with down a pawn. So we've got to go for aggression. Could go knight b5 and knight d6, and sort of like the idea opening it up for my bishop, and also if I can just plant a knight there, that would make my position much better. h5. Okay, that's actually a very clever move. Maybe I can go knight g5. Wait, knight d6, takes, knight g5. Or I could just go h3. I can just go h3, takes, and there's nothing really bad yet, and that knight on g7 is a little bit clumsy. I mean, with every gambit, you've got to be super precise. Yeah, queen b8. Okay. I'll go rook a2. Setting up some ideas. a6. I didn't consider that. Really should have. I think I'm going to sacrifice another pawn, because once that happens, my bishop comes alive. Knight e5. Now I have a very nice outpost for my pony. Not to mention that bishop a3 will be on tap pretty soon. Pretty soon. And people underestimate the bishop pair. The bishop pair does count for a whole bunch in these type of situations. There, I could take, but I don't have to. I can just go queen f3 and press that way. Yeah, I like that idea, also covering some squares, and I'm keeping the pressure on. Note f takes, I can go fe, and the king is a little bit in danger in that case. So I'm down a pawn, but I've got a bishop pair, and in fact in my notebook I'd say that I have full compensation. Because if you're ever familiar with the marshal, you might know bishop pair will make your day. So that's a threat because that rook is hanging. I have pressure there. I've got a very stable structure. Maybe my king is a little bit iffy. That's the only thing that's kind of a problem. But apart from that, I think it's pretty good for white. Is it too close? Well, I'm just a few moves away from activating them. So it really isn't that bad. Yeah, my opponent's king is also iffy. That's true. It's stuck in the middle. However, it's not that easy to get close to it. So some pressure on the f file, with the f pawn being a target. By the way, as you guys ask, I wonder, who do you think will win the blitz part of the event? Who will win? Let me know. Curious to see. Hey baby Oina, how are you doing? Carlsen already on the roll? I don't know if he's on the roll really. Maybe it has started, but I haven't seen that. Bishop b5, but it looks like a mistake. That takes, and that rook is hanging. Takes, I take. This looks like a mistake because I have queen takes a8 at the end, and this is just a problem. And that's why oftentimes you don't want to spend that much time thinking on one move, because you forget your original problems, your original issues. And in this case, I'm just winning because if DC, I just win that rook, and I'm just up a full piece with zero compensation, by the way. Maybe Wesley's cat? Yeah, Wesley's cat is a legend by now. Okay, I'm up a piece. Just defend it. Just defend that extra piece. That's all you want to do. Okay, so my opponent is still stuck in the center, so I should start opening it up. I could go bishop a3. Actually, I should have played bishop a3, but I'm still kind of fine with c4, because again, eventually my opponent might just castle. There. Okay, let's just go bishop e3, and I'm just gonna start hammering through on this side of the board. Note that I also have checks that are kind of nasty, eyeing the king. And once my pieces swarm on in, it's game over. Like if I get in knight c6, somehow it's just gonna be game over. f5, I'm gonna just take. Just preparing rook c1. I don't really care about that side of the board that much. There. Okay. Queen g2, 5. But hey, let's just take that pawn. I mean, rook c1 is still quite deadly. There. Okay, let's take. Setting up queen g2. There. Okay, rook c1. Eyeing the lady. Queen f3 is incoming. And when queen f3 incomes, that will be deadly. There. Okay. F3. I'm controlling all of those entry squares, which is crucial. King a6. Okay. Wonder if I can take. I don't think I need to. Actually, just go knight d7. Knight d7. Knight c6. Knight f7 is also quite good. Yeah, let's go knight f7. Everything's defended. The only thing left is to get my rook in there on the 7th, and then it's mate. Not to mention, I'm still setting up this a good old forkerino, which makes this position quite good. And there's not much my opponent can really do. Just not enough pieces to defend with. And let's take. It's all defended. There's nothing really that is threatening over there. And now it's easy. Now it is easy. Takes. Queen h4. It really doesn't make a whole bunch of difference. Oh, once this check. Okay. There. Let's check on e2. Let's ask where that king is going. g2, just covering all those squares, d5, and we won. We won each and every way. Hooray, hooray, hooray. So again, gambiting can be tricky. Gambiting can be super duper tricky. But you know, if you play gambits, you've got to be very, 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 very aggressive. Job at GM. Again, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Let's see. Let's raid hashtag chess, shall we? Because why not? They're a great bunch of people, so they deserve the love. I really hope you guys had a fun time here. I am going to be a little bit hectical in the upcoming days with streams, but I will be on Twitch in the upcoming future. So always stick around, check our Discord as posted earlier, and you might find out. I might show up and do some educational content, some extra educational content. And with that, I really hope you had fun and see you guys next time. Bye guys.